will say the northern region. John Mahama will say the settler region. So Bunu is western north, and the data speaks for it. The MPP will say the Ashanti region and all that. The second question is the running mate choice. I particularly feel the running mate choice wasn't good enough because when you pick Prof. Jane and you're analyzing Prof. Jane, her constituency is the upper middle class, women, and all that. And we know the voter population dynamics of Ghana, particularly to women. When you pick Napo, no matter what you say that he's a grassroots person in the Ashanti region, and when they energize the base in Ashanti, they can get the vote. What does Kwame Owusu also add to the Alan campaign? So 2 questions.
Okay, so for your first question, the constituency of Afro-Famtho, I will tell you that our constituency might not necessarily be a physical place, just as probably the MPP will say this is a stronghold whatsoever. Our constituency is the group of Ghanaians who have had that mental liberation. It's like that we have to put somebody who is more competent in the space other than somebody a party presents. Because what you've seen in the past is that no matter what, once a particular party presents an individual, and we know for a fact that this individual might not necessarily be competent, but because he's on a party's ticket, we go and then we vote for the person because we belong to the party. So our constituency is scattered around this country. All well-meaning Ghanaians, people who believe that we should choose our country ahead of any party, those individuals are our constituency, and they've scattered around. So our constituency might not necessarily be a tangible destination where you go and say, oh, this is where we live, we have to expect this kind of number. No, not at all. But the teeny young individuals who have now become very, let me choose my words correctly. The teeny young individuals who are now politically conscious. Because I'm saying that because over the periods in the early 80s, politics was more or less like a cabal, like few people were interested in all that. And with the advent of social media, people are now privy to what happened in the political space. So our constituency is the people who believe that Alan is more competent. Our constituency is the people who believe that we should move away from the duopoly that we've seen in 32 years. And you do so well with your analysis, and you can tell for a fact that where we find ourselves as a people is because of the bane of these two political parties. So like I said, we don't have a physical constituency, but we have the masses who have now more or less like transitioned from, oh, I was born into this particular jurisdiction. Let me hold this line. I am coming from this tribal line. No. So we have the Ghanaian people who believe that Ghana should see change as our constituency. And to the running mate's choice, Kwame is a polymath. Kwame is, first of all, he's playing this, he's been a footballer, right? He's become an entertainment industry player, which I think he connects so largely with your outfit. He's a broadcast journalist as yourself, and he's a lawyer. So look at the divide that he cuts through in the setup of the economy. Like being a footballer, like he understands. When it comes to football development, even as a vice president, okay, he will better shape policy direction. He being a media person, like, you know what it means, and he being a lawyer too, he has that kind of base. So one thing that I'll also say is that Honorable Alan promised us one thing. He told us point blank that, you see, as young as I am, leading the entire region in terms of communication. So it speaks to what he told us. He was like, you know what, I see myself as a transition leader because I believe that the MPP and the NDC will not get us to where we want to get to as a people. But I believe that the young people, you have so much to contribute. Because I sat on this big platform. Your platform is a very big platform. When I was at where I was, though people felt like he has the competencies, I wasn't allowed certain spaces. But this is me on your platform. So Kwame comes to the fray with a whole lot of dynamics. Okay, a dynamic of hope. Trying to tell the young person that leadership is for us, it's not for any other individual. Alan promised us a young running mate, and he fulfilled that by appointing Kwame. And then trust me, Kwame is a young person. He's belonged to the streets. He cuts across. So now any young person listening to us out there, leadership is for all of us. So the day you see Kwame become vice president at 40, Gabby sitting here, as regional comms lead at 32, and so you have hope. So it wouldn't be that rhetoric that, oh, for the leadership, they will tell us the ODs didn't help us. But now this is the time that Honorable Alan is stuffing the leadership space with young individuals, with the tenacity, with their agility, with their strength to put this country forward. So if I get you,
Kwame's choice was to target the youthful demographic.
Exactly.
Okay.
Let me ask this question. So you've been campaigning here in the Ashanti region. You're saying that you've done a great job. they've bought into your policies and all that. They a great transformational plan. In terms of percentage of votes, what are you eyeing?
Fantastic. The president went to the north and told the people, that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is coming from the enclave, so they should all vote for him. And that was a very unfortunate statement. We are preaching government of national unity. So we are trying to position our candidate as the most competent. In fact, he's the most competent. So looking at, if I should go on that line, and he being an Ashanti man,
a royal from
Ejoso, his father being the brain behind the cultural center. I mean, his family has served the Ashanti mine. He has root, and his competences and the love from the market women, from the young people we've encountered, from the villages, from the enclaves. Trust me, we are not doing anything less than 40% in the region.
Huh?
I'm telling you.
Moving for change. We are not doing anything less than 40%.
We are not doing anything less than 40%.
Since 96, the biggest party that even does well amongst all the
is the NDC.
Is the NDC. 96 they did what? Is it 32 or something percent? And from 96 they've been doing less than 30%. What makes you think that movement for change would not less than 40%? This is the first time you are going into such a contest, and yet here in the Ashanti region, the stronghold for the NPP, you're targeting not less than 40%.
So the dynamics is very simple. The dynamics with the NDC and Afafanto, very, very two distinct dynamics. So first of all, let me say this. Honorable Alan is a old horse in the game. His name has been a household name, for so long a time. And you see, the politics, the geopolitics of this country and the geopolitics in the Ashanti region favors his candidature more than any other opposition political group apart from the main NPP who claims to have the Ashanti region as a stronghold. So if you ask me that maybe we are being over ambitious, I will say no. Because one, let's consider the geopolitics. One, he is a Christian. I never wanted to go on that time, but for the purpose of analysis and to answer your question aptly, he is a Christian, first of all. His mother church is situated at the heart of the city, very close to Prempeh Assembly Hall. We were just there. I've forgotten the name. It's an Anglican church.
The St. Prince.
St. Prince. He's a Christian. Two, he's an Ashanti man. So they will tell you that Ashantis want their own, right? They want their kind. Just like the president went up and told the Northerners that you should vote for Dr. Mahmoud because it's from the North. If you consider all these parameters, political parameters, trust me, let's try to juxtapose that to the NDC. They have never seen this space as their stronghold. So what they do is that they put mechanisms in place to assuage the damage that the NPP will cause. So that is exactly what they do. So they try to find a way of massaging the deficit and then try to make amends, because what they know for a fact that anytime they cross 30%, they have a greater chance of winning the general elections because of the other regions. But this time around, we are having somebody from the main political groupings whose candidate does not cut through the Ashanti ranks and file. He is from a different part of the region, and he, as compared to the man Alanja Martin, the Ashantis are seeing Alanja Martin as their own, and they, from the other side, are trying to say that the party is our stronghold, so no matter who we bring. So we see the dynamics right now. They think that they vote for us, so no matter what. And now the Ashantis are also saying but that
I have seen Global Info Analytics, data.
What's that?
And it even favors Cheddar more than Alan.
So let me say this to you. I'll go back a little bit. During the internal presidential primaries, they did the national security research, and they realized that Dr. Bawumia was not even going to win.
What is it they? Who are they?
I mean the people from the Jubilee House.
Okay.
So they partnered the BNI. They did internal polls, and they realized that even with the super delegate, Dr. Bawumia was not going to win, because those constituency of the super delegate, they are people of power and substance. So it's not everybody that you can bully politically. So when they did that, 2 days to the internal politics elections, the primaries, the president sent buses around. They gathered their 900 plus people at a place, and he won all of them because they were holding government position, contracts and all that. He told them point blank that he doesn't want Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia just to win. But he also wants Alan Shamati not to even be the second person.
Gabby, you see, when you look at the history of the MPP since 92, no candidate has been elected more than 60%. Bawumia got 61%. Not even Adubu Ahene, not even Kofoe.
He's talking about the internal.
Talking about the internal polls.
Yeah.
Again, as a student of history, and I know you understand this nuance I'm coming to portray, we know when Kennedy joined the campaign, very late. For he to come in the super delegate, take the second position. And if you talk about the Ashanti core of the MPP, believing in their own, yes, they did it for Justin Kodia in the race against John Boadu. But Alan was on the ticket as a core Ashanti. And most of the people who voted for the super delegate, check their numbers, particularly about 40 to 50% were from the Ashanti region. They didn't vote for him. So doesn't that defeat the narrative that you are hoping to get a certain 40% in the region because he takes certain geopolitical boxes?
And like he said, Ashantis want their own.
Not at all. You see, I was building to the point, but I'll come back to Eugene's question. So the plan from their side was that should Alan become the second person after Dr. Mambo, even in the super delegate, then it means that he's the one the masses want. Because the machination and the schemes that they did, and they have still been doing even after we've left. So if I come back to what Eugene just asked, it was more or less like.
So before you get before I get to Eugene's question, forgive me, you were talking about some work done by BNI.
Yes.
What was the outcome?
Yes, probably. I mean, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wasn't going to win. So after the meeting with the president gave some of them juicy contracts and all that, and they agreed on a particular percentage that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should get. And afterwards, they also made a part that instead of those who love Alan, they should vote for Kennedy and Japan to make Alan.
You're talking about internal election.
Yes,
when you began, I thought you were talking about. I asked why.
Musa Dankwa. You made mention of Musa Dankwa, and I have already stated an internal pool that came from the Jubilee House, and later on they were calling for Alan's comeback because they felt like the election was going to be a runoff. So just as I was saying, so the outcome of the internal primaries, super delegates, made it seem like Alan is weak. But it was a scheme. Because they felt like upon all the machinations, should Alan be the second person, then it means he's the one the masses want. So back to what Eugene is saying.
But the machinations was not just against Alan, was it?
It was
look at Kennedy and the utterances Kennedy even make action.
So let me land on. Let me land on your.
Gabby, I'm coming. I'll allow you. When you check from 2007 and you check 2010, 2014, I don't have the numbers readily. But at the last time Alan contested Akufo-Addo won almost 95% of the vote. He's been declining. So for me, as a watcher of data, the super delegate didn't surprise me. What was strange was that all this year, we've never heard Kennedy in the mix. Kennedy comes, and let's note, the super delegate was the creme de la creme, the most educated, the people with the position, people who supposedly Kennedy didn't appeal to, because Kennedy, when you profile him, appeals to the base of the party, the grassroots, the downtrodden, the commoner. So for the super delegate, for him to place second ahead of Alan, who is deemed as a gentleman, the man is the camaraderie.
It speaks to what I'm saying. I've told you that it was a scheme to make Honorable Alan seems very weak, because you group an individual of about 927 plus, and then the plan was that, you know what, we are not just in for the win for a candidate, but also make another candidate very weak. So Honorable Kennedy becoming second meant that Chief is weak, because they knew the machination and the scheme they've done.
It's not about his message. It's not about
he was nobody had to
endear himself well, because if people like him in a contest, if they like you, they like.
Let me sit here and diffuse this propaganda. Honorable Alan never stood anywhere and said a dream so never. I'll be very frank with you this morning. You see, during the race between Alan and Akufo-Addo in 2007, one of the things Akufo-Addo was telling the people was that he's next in line, because Akufo told him point blank that I am older than you and I'll be president before you. And in that same vein, he told Alan that just as President Akufo have told him, he's going to tell Alan that he will be president before Alan. So, where from that emphatic ado so thing? It was the masses telling Alan that, okay, because of what Akufo-Addo told you, you are next in line. So they made it seem like Alan is too soft and he just sits unconcerned, and all these things were plot. But Eugene, back to what we're saying, the good thing is,
you know the challenge in your argument.
Eugene, I'm coming. The good thing is, the super delegates, the delegates were just some fraction of individuals. Not the entire population. Now, what is the voter register that we're going to use?
No, but
over,
I'm coming. But
over 70 million people.
Delegate, you say
you cannot just oppose the will of
the super
people
delegate was some machinations to make Alan appear weak. But when they went for the main thing on 4th November, Bawumia garnered 61%.
But Alan was in the race.
I'm coming. Where Kennedy had nearly 30%. So that tells you that the momentum Kennedy had in the super delegate was not a fluke.
So
and a true representation.
So it's also safe to say that because Alan wasn't in the race, and you see, the true patriots and well-meaning Ghanaians who found themselves to be delegates obviously wouldn't vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for obvious reasons. So it's also safe to say that all of them voted for Kennedy in the absence of Honorable Alan Kyereh. It's also safe to say that, right? So that is why I'm saying that I don't want to really delve much into that aspect of the conversation, because the good thing is that whatever happened, the most important thing is that we have a credible leader whose name is on the
But Gabby
ballot
is a lead communicator for the Movement for Change, and he's
Whose
saying
name is
that
on the ballot sheet?
come the 7th of December's election,
Of course.
Movement for Change will get 40%
because yes,
of votes in the
we are
Ashanti
not-
region,
we are not
not
doing-
national
we are
votes.
not doing we are not doing anything.
Ashanti region votes, they are going to get 40%.
And let me say this.
You can call us now on 0322